The future is here. Blizzard announced the future of Warcraft. And it is the mobile game. Warcraft Arclight Rumble. Are you ready to rumble? Colossal fun. And on someone asked on the forum, good thing Blizzard focused on this instead of Reforged. And in the comments, someone pointed out, they're a huge gaming studio, and if you're still sore over Warcraft 3 Reforged, that's on you at this point. Reforged is over and done. It's done. And it gave me an idea. Why don't we make a campaign in a mobile game engine that I made 10 years ago? I think that sounds like fun. Let's make a custom campaign. So what I did 10 years ago, we made this this game engine that's kind of like Pac-Man. But I don't know if you can see this here. Let me try to make the view a little bit larger. But basically, this game translates into... sorry, I got it over here. It translates into something that can actually run on your phone. So if I actually unlock this and go to... this app of this, it'll actually run the game that you make on here on the phone, and then you tap to move around and all this. So I made this mobile game engine. Somebody in my class 10 years ago, they said code Pac-Man, and I was like, dude, I've never played that. I'm just going to make something up. So I made this game engine that lets you make custom levels. So we're going to make a Pac-Man. We might try to make a campaign. I don't know if we have time to do that tonight, but we're at least going to make a custom level over here. So one of the things I have that I could show you, I don't know if you can see this, but I have a magic pen. Since I'm on a mobile device today, this pen is going to let me draw the level. So if you look over here to the right-hand side, you can draw different kinds of walls. And this just uses this system of, I just kind of draw a wall, and it'll just let you put it in there. And this is a scroll bar that lets me view the entire map. So you might say, doesn't that map seem kind of small? And yeah, you'd be right, but let's talk about that. Let's talk about my game engine for a moment here. So my game engine that I made 10 years ago, and this is back when I was a high school kid. I made this between classes. That's what we do in high school. If I click play over here, that should, I choose an engine. I want the new one. This is the newer one. It's revised. Sorry, that's kind of loud. Oh, we don't have a character, so we can't do anything. Wait, let's go back to draw. We got to put a character in the center here. All right, great. Let me click play again. Great. So now we've got our engine here. This is kind of fun. You notice if you travel around, you can go off the screen to another page. So that's one of the keys we're going to find in our map editor. Is in order to make a Zelda dungeon out of Pac-Man, it's going to be totally necessary that you have multiple pages. I'm sure that makes sense to you guys why you would do that. This like standard game design 101. Anyway, I really like that zoomed in view for this video record. So let me go ahead and do this location zoom in again here. But it looks like our guy, he needs to be blocked from going off the screen like that. So let's start drawing some more walls around him here. We'll put him in a kind of a funky room with a lot of little dotted walls like this. I think that sounds like fun. But at some point, our funky room needs to have a seal on it. And then you're going to say, wait a minute, now he's sealed in, he can't get anywhere. But we can always play test it. If we go to File, Play over here, you can always just play test your map. This is a really important part of any game engine. Cool. Untitled level, description unspecified. That's not cool. Let's change that. I think in the data over here I have level title. So we're going to call this Chapter 1. And the description is Bob Kotick doesn't own this. Oh, no, sorry. That's not a good subtitle. Chapter 1 here is entering the world of inspiration and mobile. Okay, there we go. All right, great. So now that we have that, let me zoom in again over here. This looks great. So you'll notice our guy he's kind of stuck in this little room. That's no good. We got to get him a way to get out of the room. So how are we going to do that? So I think that what we want to do, you'll notice we have, I got a suggestion from Microsoft to link my Android phone. Where did they come up with this stuff? Get out of here, Microsoft. Now, this is a level here, but we're gonna need to have a way to get to a second world. So, kind of an interesting thing with this. If you notice these little widgets over here, this lets me toggle left and right, so I can go like to the left or to the right in the maps if you needed like multiple levels. Let's talk about that. So that's like multiple screens in your dungeon, but you might have multiple dungeons in the campaign. It's just like this particular level file is going to have multiple screens. So let's make one of those. Let's make a screen here, and in order to do that, we're going to have to actually like delete an opening in this wall, and we'll make a little path that goes to the right. So you'll notice the walls on the side here. If I do this location, zoom in again, the walls on the far right over here, they're great, but what they don't do is they don't connect anywhere. So watch this. This is the trick. If I go one to the right, and if we remember where those walls were, now the question is, can we pinpoint? Do we remember exactly where they were? Yes. And you see that how they're automatically attaching to the left to the walls in the next page over of our dungeon. So that part's kind of fun. So let's go ahead and put a little room over here in our dungeon that our guy's going to go to. This is going to be great. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and play test this again just because I really like play testing. I think that's a lot of fun. We'll maximize. Okay, so here's my guy, but if you look, see now I can go off the screen and I can go to this little room over here. So one of the keys is to really make this thing flow, you should always have that there is never an opening space of size more than one. I find that makes a good flow in this game. So let's talk a little bit about our dungeon here. One of the things that we don't have is we don't have the collectibles. So in order to play this game, in order to win, our guy needs to be able to actually collect stuff. And so that gets to these pellets. Now in this game, there's like 50 different kinds of pellets. You can have like nuclear bombs and fireballs and ice powers, all that stuff. It's really important to get used to those. But as an example over here, we can put in the most basic is the yellow ones, and you can just kind of drag those around your guy, you know. And I think this is pretty fun because that way then your guy will be collecting these. I think this is great. So let me just do that. I think the delete key, if you mess up, can delete whatever's currently selected that you just placed. And one of the other things that can be fun to do with this is to stylize with different color pellets. So like I like to take these green and red ones. The green ones will give you slightly more points, but it's basically the same. So you can put like a ring of green around the outside, and you can see I messed up down there. We're gonna have to go back and fix that. I messed up there too, but I can use like delete key. If you're on a mobile, kind of like me with this pen, and you didn't have a keyboard, you notice I had a keyboard, I cheated. If you didn't have a keyboard, you can use this delete button over here to kind of like draw in wherever you mess up. So if you make a little mistake like that, you know, you kind of just wipe it away. All right, great. Then you'll notice we can sort of drive off the end of the map here and start filling in the next part of our dungeon on the next side of the screen. So that's kind of fun. You always want to have, like, if you have these little dead ends, then you could help your guy. You could give him, you know, like a power up or a freeze power, fireball power, like nukes or something, lasers, shield. You know, it's kind of up to you as far as that, but something. You want to put something in there so that your guy is going to have some kind of fun. So let's just put the basic power pellet lets you chase away the ghosts. So that kind of makes sense. We could put 2 of those here, even though there aren't any ghosts yet, and kind of like put a little green one in front of them. Kind of incentivizes you, like, hey, player, you better go pick these up. And we could put some yellow ones around here. So if we do that, we fill that in. That's great. Let's go ahead and play test that again. That seems like fun. We always got to choose a newer engine. The old engine's garbage. Cool. So now we got our level over here, and you can see when I pick up the green ones, he's like plus 20 each time. They're worth a little bit more. That's great. It helps you get points when you do that. So that's kind of fun, but you'll notice then there's kind of this question, like, do I win? Can I get all the pellets and win? And usually you'll find that you can, but a lot of times the green and yellow ones are different, and sometimes the green ones aren't required. But it looks like in this level, the green ones are required. And if you ever need to know that, if you pause the game with spacebar, it'll show you the list of the pellets required to win, and it'll show you what pellets come back when your character dies. They're configurable in the level editor, but they're on the pause screen. It'll tell you that. So that kind of helps. That way we know if I get this green one, I get that other green one, I would probably win, except I don't because I need to also get the superpower pellets. So to win, there's always like these, just this question of whatever you got. It says, congratulations on completing level 1, chapter 1. I got my score and all this stuff. So as an interesting thing, I noticed also we didn't have difficulty level in here. We're going to put easy as difficulty level for this. But pellets required to win. If we take the super power pellet off the list, you'll notice we could play again and we could avoid collecting the big ones. And that it makes the level a little bit easier. So they're a utility for the player, but they're not required. And you're probably thinking to yourself, what are they a utility for? What do they do? What's so good about them? And that's a great question. So notice, like now I go over here. I don't know how loud that sound is for you, but now I'm going over here. I'm going to collect all of them. You'll see that I should win even when I don't get the orange super ones. There you go, and I won without getting the super pellets. So that's great. This is just an engine configuration. But one of the things that you probably think to yourself is, what's the point of the super pellet if there's no ghosts? So we need to put in some ghosts in here that'll kind of sneak in and get Pac-Man. And one of the ways to do that is if you make like a little spawn area for them to spawn. So let me do that here. Do some kind of specialized wall where they're going to spawn in. But the weird thing is, if you notice, these little ghosts, they have a mind of their own, and we have to control the AI with some informational flags because normally they don't get it. And another question is, can Pac-Man go into the ghost's little pen area where they start? And by default, you would say, nah, Pac-Man shouldn't be able to do that. So in order to stop him, you can place these purple walls. And the purple walls, the ghost walls, only can be passed through by ghosts. So they're useful in making a pen system to put your ghosts in. So if you look, I could say, like, let's have 2 red ghosts up here, 2 green ghosts over here, and like 2 orange ghosts over here. Now, for anybody who's ever played Namco's Pac-Man, notably, everything we see here, I drew all the artwork for this in a class project when they said, hey, just code a Pac-Man. I had not ever played the real Pac-Man. This is not Namco art, but obviously this game is entirely educational. Apologies to the Namco brand that owns the Pac-Man, because obviously I don't own the Pac-Man. This is just kids having fun 10 years ago. So anyway, we got to define the ghost AIs over here. And I think in order to do that, we can put in ghost pen area. And so if I drag that along, this defines these areas to be the pen for the ghost. And then we also want to go in the level and put in AI flags. So they have a respawn target when they're returning. And that one, you just put it in the center so they'll know to go in through that door. And you have an exit target when they're leaving, and you just put that on the outside of the door. And that is how you draw a ghost pen. You have a flag to leave it and a flag to go back inside of it. So now we have ghosts in our level, and this introduces a substantial amount of challenge. So let's try playing this, and we'll see the challenge for this. An interesting thing to note, these ghosts don't activate until I start moving around in here. See, now that I moved, now they're going to start moving around pretty soon. Probably. Yeah, see that red guy's up? They don't chase you very directly. They sort of run around randomly. But it can be useful, like, if once they're running all over the place, they get really crazy, and it can be really annoying. Like, how would you survive in there? That's dangerous. So then you get this power-up. That will make them that you can beat the ghosts. And that's really useful. That's really, really useful. It lets you beat these guys up. And then you can start collecting the stuff that's behind them. And sometimes, if you hit them, you die, which is horrible. You lose a life up there. And so you don't really want to do that. But as long as you don't reset, it'll keep your progress so you can beat really difficult dungeons, because sometimes that's pretty necessary. And by default, and you can change this in the level editor, it'll respawn those superpowers when you die. And so that helped me just now. Superpower came back, so I could go do that Now you'll notice when I beat level 1, it just resets back to level 1. So if you're going to make a custom campaign, you're going to need your own custom level 2 and your own custom level 3. But by default on this engine, if you ever complete every single mission in the campaign, what it does is it cycles back to the beginning. So the editor just creates a campaign of your one mission by default, but it's totally customizable. At this point, I would say we've made a level that has its own element of challenge. So I think we ought to save it and try to see. And so in order to do that, here I am in my documents, but let's make a new folder called like PC underscore, or maybe just space custom campaign. That's great. And then it's been a while, but I'm pretty sure we just name it like level 1 in here and just save that. And I think then if we go to load, if you ever wanted to load it back, it creates a bunch of metadata files for level 1 that contain all of our information. But like if you were to say clear this level and suddenly nuke all of our progress and have a clean slate in the editor, you could just click load, go back to level 1, load it right back up, and it'll bring that right back in so you could play test it again. So that's where, then the key in your custom campaign ultimately is you want to make level 2, use that clear button, clear it out, and draw another level. Why don't we leave that for another day? Maybe tomorrow I'll make level 2. I think that seems like fun. I think this has been a good exercise. And what we're going to end up doing at the end of this custom campaign to celebrate mobile games, sort of as our free educational competitor to the ArcLight Rumble, is again that you just have the same engine running here on the phone. So that's kind of cool. I don't know if you guys can see that when I'm down in the corner, but yeah, pretty fun times. So yeah, I hope you guys have a good one. And that's my mobile game we're going to be doing here, since the future is mobile for your creativity. So I'm going to make a custom campaign and then we'll play it on my mobile. That's great. Have a good one, guys.